I gave myself a challenge this year to see if I could harvest fruit out of my garden every single month for the entire year. Now, I don't know if I'm going to achieve this goal, but I thought it'd be fun for us to do this together to see if it's even possible to harvest fruit every single month in my garden and in yours. So let's clean these up a little bit and harvest the fruit, and I can tell you about our first fruit, which is strawberries. I started these strawberries from actually plugs. I have tried to do bare roots. In fact, this little guy right here, he actually is a bare root. It's the only bare root plant that I was able to grow. I had like ordered 25 or 30 of them or something like that, and all of them died. It was pretty crazy. I think I ordered them too early. I also ordered them from a place, I don't think the place was that bad, but I ordered them from a place that was a little bit too far north. I needed to get them from places that were closer to where I live here in Florida, because the difference in the temperatures between where they were and where they were going, which was here, was pretty crazy. And I did them in September, so I think you definitely need to start those a little bit later. I would say October. But also, bare roots are just not the easiest ones to start with, especially for like beginner gardeners. Now guys, I'm not a beginner. I would put myself in the intermediate to expert category here, and they're hard for me. So if they're hard for me, I'm sure that they're hard for just like a brand new fruit gardener, right? So plugs is the ones that I ended up going with because I think plugs are just super easy. So plugs are basically like a seedling, like a start. So when you go to Home Depot and you're looking at their tomato plants and you're like, oh, I want to grow that tomato plant, and it already has like a little plant that's about this tall, that's a start, right? Well, they call them plugs in the strawberry world. They're basically like little plants. They're usually about this big. They have like maybe 2 or 3 leaves on them, and then this really tiny root system. I think that's why they call them plugs. And so they're already live, they're already plants, they're no longer bare roots or anything like that. So you have a live plant. They're just so much easier to manage. And then, you know, there's this thing with bare roots that if you plant them too deeply, you'll rot the crown. If you don't give them the right amount of moisture, too much, too little, if you don't give them the right amount of sun. The cool thing about plugs is you don't really have to worry about any of that because they're already plants, they're already to the size they need to be, they're already buried to the right depth that they need to be, they've already gotten used to the moisture. And the really cool thing, I got these from Haas, and Haas is in Georgia and I'm in Florida. So being able to buy them from somebody where they've already been experiencing some of the heat and the humidity and some of our same weather patterns, yeah, they did so well. As you can see, I think I lost maybe 2 of them. And I'm not exactly sure why I lost them, but the cool thing is these guys weren't done putting off their runners at the time that I got them. So they produced more runners, so I ended up plugging in the runners at different places. So I really didn't lose any plants. And the next thing you have to consider is what variety of strawberries you want to grow. Some varieties grow in different areas better. There's also something called June berries versus everbearings, which is basically like how often the fruit comes in. Then you have, you know, ones that are day neutral, ones that do better in Florida's weather because ours fruit at a different time. Ours actually fruits in winter when most everyone else's fruits in, I think, spring and summer. So you have to consider those. So the varieties that I have grown that I think are pretty decent. In this container right here, the top, I think 3 or 4 tiers is Camarosa. I've never grown them before. They're brand new to me this year, and I will say that I think they're probably one of the better tasting varieties I've ever had. The berries though are kind of small, and this might be because it's like the first flush of berries. Usually that first flush is a little bit, you know, a little bit smaller in size, but the Camarosas were that small. This one right here, a little bit bigger. Once again, first flush. These are the Chandlers. I have found the Chandlers to be a bigger strawberry, but they don't taste as good as the Camarosa. The Camarosas are really good, very sweet. I'm actually really enjoying them, but the berries are pretty small. So I know it's not a nutrition issue. It might have been a watering issue because these top tiers didn't get watered perfectly. So that's something I had to adjust. So I'm hoping the next flush of berries will give me larger size berries. Other varieties that I have grown that have done pretty well are Albion, which is not my preferred because of, once again, the size of the strawberries. But then my other one that I really, really like that I've grown for years was Brilliance. I really like Brilliance. You're talking about a very big berry. They're meant for Florida. Some of the guys in Plant City, those big growers, grow Brilliance. And so if they're going to grow them and they make those beautiful strawberries, I'm definitely going to grow them. So you have to think about that. There are some other ones. The University of Florida recommends them. Sweet Sensation is one. I've never been able to get my hands on them, but it looks like a really great berry. It's known for Florida. I think they've developed some varieties for Florida. So there's a lot of options out there, but you really want to make sure that you're picking the right one for Florida because the number of daylight hours and when these guys produce is super, super important. Now, as much as I don't think that fertilizer is the reason why my berries are a little bit smaller, it is possible that they are. The reason why I don't think that they are is because the leaves look pretty good. They're nice and green. But if I do need to use fertilizer, these are the ones that I'm going to use. This is by far my absolute favorite fertilizer for any berries, whether it's strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, Indian berries, whatever kind of berries you have, elderberries. I like Berrytone. It's meant for them. It does really well. Now the downside of Berrytone is that it is a granular organic feed. Granular organic feeds mean that they take a while to break down, and in winter they take even longer because what they need is the microbial and fungal life to actually break down the materials in here for it to be available to the plants. And in winter, those little bugs and animals and everything are very, not very active. And for that reason, they take a while. Now, I put this in my tiers when I planted them. I also put in some compost. You cannot go wrong with compost. I feel like these plants just absolutely adore compost. And what might be a better idea is to use a liquid fertilizer. You could use a compost tea, or you could use something like this. So this one right here is the organic option, and this is a fish fertilizer. Now, I want you to be very careful with this one. So if you do too high of a concentration while they're fruiting, they can make the berries not taste very good. Like I had a lady reach out to me that used some fish fertilizer on her berries. Her berries were fruiting, which usually if they're fruiting, that's like a good sign that they have a good amount of nutrition. It's when they're not fruiting or they're fruiting unsuccessfully or the leaves look kind of funny that you want to maybe be concerned with fertilizer. But she used fish fertilizer, which normally is okay. It turns out her berries started tasting kind of sour. They did get bigger, but they did start to taste kind of sour and not very good. And I think that's because this stuff is immediately available to the plants. It's going to uptake it. They're going to absorb it. And I feel like if you do too high of a concentration, it's going to make those berries taste off. So if you do want to use fish fertilizer and you don't want to have to wait on that granular to break down, or you don't want to have to make compost tea or something like that, then I would definitely do lower levels of concentration of this stuff. It says 2 tablespoons per gallon of water. I'd probably do 1 tablespoon for a gallon of water and spread it across an entire Greenstalk and let it come out through the bottom. Don't keep reapplying it, and maybe do it a little more often. So instead of every 2 or 3 weeks, maybe do it every 1 to 2 weeks and see if that's better. Your other option, if you're not an organic gardener, is to use a synthetic. Now, this one's a little high. This is a 20-20-20 Jax. I would probably mainly go with a 10-10-10 for strawberries rather than a 20-20-20. But this is, you may be like, isn't that granular, Patrina? Because it is kind of like, it's like a powder. It's water soluble, which means it just turns into, you mix it with water and it just turns into like a liquid, like a blue liquid. And this one has the 20 nitrogen, 20 phosphorus, 20 potassium, or if you got the 10-10-10, which I think is a better option. This is not going to make your berries taste funny. It's not going to make them taste any weird, but it is going to make them not organic. So if that's something that's a concern to you, then you may want to consider using one of the other options. But as it stays right now, you know, I'm honestly going to let them go through one more flush. I'll give them like 2 more weeks, and if the berries aren't getting bigger, I'm probably going to start with a compost tea. I'm going to grab some compost, let it ferment in water for 2 or 3 days, and then strain out the compost and just put the water down into my Greenstalk. Or I might do a very low concentration of this and see if it helps boost those berries and makes them a little bit bigger. But the first flush is always a little bit small. They're still a young plant. We've still got a couple of months more to go here before we're completely done or they're going to stop producing berries. So we have a little bit more time. Now, if you're at this point and your strawberries are not producing berries or fruit, could be that they're too young. So the way that strawberries work is they need so much foliage and so much growth before they're gonna put on their strawberries. Usually a strawberry plant from bare root to fruiting is gonna be 2 months, 2.5 months. Plug to fruiting is a little bit shorter. It's like a month and a half, but it also has to do with day length. So we were talking earlier about the different varieties and those varieties having different day lengths, whether they're day sensitive or, you know, early producing, or whether they're ever bearing, or whether they're, you know, June bearing. All of that determines when they're going to fruit. Different varieties fruit at different times. So you may have a variety that fruits later in the season. You might have picked a variety that's not really good for Florida, and it might be waiting for a certain number of daylight hours to hit, which doesn't really happen for us very well in winter. It probably won't start fruiting till spring. And if that happens, you're probably not going to get the best outcome because the berries don't like to grow in our heat. So that's why the varieties are so important. But if yours are not producing berries or flowers, and they are like this size, you know, like they've got a decent amount of leaves on them, it's probably a variety issue. But if they're still younger than this, it's probably just that you got them a little bit later in the season. Give them some more time. They should start producing. It would not hurt at this point to give them a full dose of the fertilizer just to kind of pump up that growth. Another question I get often is how many strawberries will each plant produce? And I'm sorry to say that they actually don't produce a significant amount. One plant is probably going to produce a quart of strawberries across the entire season, which is like 3 or 4 months, maybe longer depending on where you live if you're like in North Florida. But yeah, for like 4 months you're gonna get 1 quart. That's why we have so many of them. I went with 72 I think this year. I think I started with 72 plants. Yeah, you kind of need a lot. So that should equate to 72 quarts. So far, basically what I have been pulling, and once again, these have just started producing and ripening. So I'm pulling about, I don't know, probably about 2 quarts a week is what I'm pulling off of all my plants. Which I don't know if that's good or not. I'm gonna have to do some calculations and figure out whether that's an appropriate amount. I feel like I used to do like 30 plants. That wasn't enough. Well, first I started with like 2 plants. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought maybe like you would get enough from 2 plants. That is not the case. Then I went to 30. 30 wasn't enough. Now I'm at 72. If 72 is not enough, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself because I guess we just eat a lot of strawberries. But yeah, so we're pulling about a quart every couple of days or twice a week. Now, once these guys are done fruiting for this season, which usually what happens is you'll start to see the berries getting smaller and smaller. You'll start to see a lot more like disease and die off from the leaves. They're going to start wilting a lot faster. That's when you're starting to enter into usually late spring. So around April-ish, I think. April, May, maybe if you're lucky, depending on what your microclimate is in your area. If they're in any level of shade, those kinds of things, they're going to start to stop producing berries, and then they kind of just pause. They don't really do much at that point. Here in Florida, it's very, very hard to get our strawberries to make it through summer. And the reason for that is because they don't like our hot weather. They hate it. They like a more temperate climate, and we just don't have that here. So the way that I kind of rectify that is I will take these away from this spot. I move them 1 tier at a time over towards my shed where I have a pretty shady spot. They'll get maybe 2 or 3 hours of sun a day, and I let them hang out over there for the summer. And I get about a 50% die off. They will all start to die off. And then in fall, they start putting off runners, and those runners I can make extra plants. Now, the brilliants that I had been growing, that variety, they produce like almost no runners. I couldn't even believe it. Like it was like out of 30 plants, I got like 1 runner. It was crazy. The Chandlers, they're okay. But I gotta tell you, the Camarosas, they put off a lot of runners, like a lot of runners. I was pretty shocked about it. So they were still putting off runners. I had to stop them from putting off runners so I could get it to start focusing on fruit. So you could potentially make up for the losses with the runners. Now the downside is growing strawberries here in Florida, they don't have a dormancy period like up north. Up north, they get to go through winter and they drop all their leaves and then they are just the root system. And then they resprout in the spring and then they grow. That dormancy period really helps them produce the best berries. And that's why a lot of people tell you to like take the flowers off the first year. That doesn't apply for here in Florida because ours don't usually live through the summer. So we get our crop on the first year and then the second year is usually less, unfortunately. For rest of the other part of the country, theirs is usually more because they get a dormancy period. Here, they don't get a dormancy period. So because of that, we don't usually get the best yield on the second year. But if you can get them to live through summer by keeping them in shade, keeping them watered, and don't feed them. You don't want like a lot of new growth during the summer. You just want them to just kind of chill. Then they'll produce runners and hopefully you can replace some of your lost plants with the runners. But every couple of years, you are going to have to replenish your supply. You are going to have to get new plants every couple of years. I am trying out a new variety. A friend of the channel sent them to me. She sent me like so many, 50. Let me show them to you. I have them over here. I put them actually in the ground. So I put them all underneath my fruit trees. So I did a line. These are called Frontier strawberries. I also planted them under Peachy the peach tree to try to create like a living mulch. Now I got these much later in the season. I probably got these like a month ago and got them in the ground. So that's why they're kind of small right now. But hers, she's been growing them in her garden in Florida for like a long time. And she says that they create runners and they make it through summer and they produce really well. So I was like, score, I've never heard of this variety. So we're going to test it out. We're going to grow them underneath the fruit trees and see if they make it through summer and how long they produce. I'm not really expecting them to produce this year. And in fact, I'll probably cut the flowers off. I have plenty coming out of my Greenstalk. So it's not for the fruit for this year that I'm focused on. I'm focused on these guys producing for next year and the year after that and the year after that. So fingers crossed that those work out. So first month of this challenge of growing fruit and harvesting it out of my backyard garden every single month this year has been successful because this month we got strawberries. And we'll be pulling strawberries for a few months now. A little cool piece of information I wanted to give you guys was that I have been working on a fruit book for over a year now, probably like a year and a half I've been working on this book and I'm getting so close to being finished. It's going to go out to my editor, my proofreader here in just a couple of weeks. And I'm so excited. I'm hoping to have it out in the next, like, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks is what I'm going for. If I can get all the cover art done and all that stuff. But it's going to be how to grow fruit in Florida and everything you ever wanted to know. So it's going to have chapters for every single fruit and like the high level facts about them. And then we're going to deep dive into like if you want to grow fruit for fun for kids, if you want to grow in a small space, if you want heavy producers, and all of the details you want to know about growing fruit in Florida, like how to plant it, how to water it, disease, pests, all the things. Like I really went really big with this book. So make sure that you subscribe below so that you can keep up with this series because I am going to announce it during this series and I should have some fun things that go along with the announcement. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel and then hit that notification bell so it announces whenever one of my new videos come out. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Happy gardening.